Session number 4, Transforming Thinking Patterns. Hello, welcome to therapy. Last time we talked about patterns of limited thinking. We hope you've completed the exercises and were able to identify the negative thinking patterns that you're prone to. This time, let's try to let go of them. Alternative thinking can help us free ourselves from distorted thinking and excessive subjectivity. But what's alternative thinking? It's thinking based solely on facts only. This way, your thinking will reflect reality more objectively. It will also help you resist perfectionism and anxiety better, which will make you more confident in the end. As we learned last time, dwelling on the negative and neglecting the positive is a distorted pattern called filtering. If you know that you use this pattern, shift your attention to a solution or try to replace your negative thoughts with positive ones. Easier said than done, right? Well, let's take a look at it this way. If your usual thoughts are about what you don't have to be happy, try to turn your attention to the good things that you already do have in your life. Right now, take a moment and put a list together, and you'll be surprised at how many good things are sitting right in front of you, but you don't notice them yet. If you feel alienated, think of those times when you felt accepted and loved by your family, friends, lovers. Try to recall those feelings. If you tend to focus on your mistakes, then shift your focus to your achievements. What are your achievements? Can you list them? The next pattern is polarized thinking. This all or nothing approach makes us go to extremes. We qualify things as black or white, good or bad. Then try to accept this notion. Our world is not divided into good and evil. It's diverse, just like all of us are. That's why polarized thinking cannot objectively reflect life around us. To overcome this pattern, CBT therapists recommend thinking in terms of percentages. For example, about 10% of people think that I'm an amateur, but the other 90 think that I'm a professional. Doesn't this take at least some of the burden off your shoulders? The third pattern we'll be freeing ourselves of today is overgeneralization. Is it typical for you to draw general conclusions based on a single fact? Do you tend to think you're doomed after a single failure? If the answer is yes, then you're probably prone to overgeneralization. To get rid of it, analyze situations based on facts. Avoid words like everyone, never, always, no one, etc. And try not to make predictions about the future. Well, because it's impossible to predict. Now let's wave goodbye to the fourth distortion, global labeling. Negative statements are symptoms of global labeling. Labels are misjudgments based on limited experience. To break free of these patterns, replace negative characteristics with neutral and precise definitions. If you describe your usual caution as, "Oh, I'm so indecisive," try saying something like, "Wow, am I reasonable?" Mind reading is the next distortion, and that's a common weakness too. Sometimes it may seem to us that we are experienced enough to know exactly what other people think and feel in different situations, like Mel Gibson in What Women Want, where he got electrocuted with a hairdryer and began hearing women's thoughts. Well, we're not Mel Gibsons, and it would be healthier to consider our ideas of what's going on in other people's minds as mere hypotheses. Question these ideas, question these hypotheses, come up with alternatives, and what's most important, rely on facts and not your guesses. Instead of assuming that she will definitely turn you down before you even ask her out, try actually asking her out to know for sure. Are you ready to say goodbye to mind reading? We are, definitely. The next pattern to let go of is personalization. Personalization limits our thinking a great deal. Do you really believe that other people talk and do things as a reaction only to your persona? Do you constantly compare yourself to others? Then the first thing to do is to admit the fact that each and every person is unique. Every single one of us has strengths and weaknesses. And if that's the reality, then why compare? It's like fighting over which fruit is better, an avocado or an orange. They're just different. Neither is better or worse. And if you think that you are the reason for another person's behavior or mood, but you aren't sure, then don't hurry to take the blame. Simply ask first, why are you in a bad mood? Do I have anything to do with your mood? You may be surprised with the answers because they most probably won't have anything to do with you at all. Let's move on to the next toxic distortion. That's self-blame. It may sound something like this. I didn't get the job because the interviewer saw right through me and knew that I was incompetent. Or the relationship failed because I'm too difficult to love. Or I might as well not even try to get the promotion because I'm not good enough. Whose voice is still speaking in your head and saying these degrading things to you? Try to detect it. Is it your mother's? Is it your father's? Who else? Maybe your teacher? Becoming aware that those hurtful messages aren't even yours can help you free yourself by returning those messages back to the person who once said them to you. Another thing that you can do to free yourself of self-blame is seeing the situation in a larger and less personal context. Consider a situation where your relationship ended badly. Instead of blaming yourself and saying, of course, she didn't want to be my friend. I make too many demands on other people. Focus on what each of you brought to the party and say, well, she needed to control every aspect of our relationship, and I should have called her out on it. Instead, I let myself get steamrolled until I couldn't stand it anymore. Also, try not to berate yourself every time something goes wrong. Instead, say something like this. And the last thing, try not to blame yourself every time something goes wrong. Instead, say something like this. I did the best I could at the moment. I've recognized my mistakes, and now I'm moving forward. Next time, I will do better. The second to last distorted pattern is control fallacies. As you might remember, you may either feel globally responsible for everything around you, or the other way around, you may feel utterly helpless. If you tend to be super controlling, try using contradictions. If you think that you are responsible for your husband's weight gain, stop and say to yourself, no, I am not responsible for my husband's diet. He's a grown man and he can take care of himself. On the other hand, if you're prone to feeling small and helpless, then try finding ways of getting control back into your hands over the situation. Remind yourself, if I got myself into this mess, then I can get myself out of it. And now let's send a farewell kiss to the last limited pattern on our list, those nasty shoulds. When we're guided by our shoulds, we follow a strict set of rules. And anyone who breaks our rules drives us crazy. Remember, if another person breaks your rule, you feel angry and frustrated. And if you break your own rule, then you feel guilty. To get those shoulds out of your system, you need to reconsider all our rules that start with words like I should, I must, I have to. Keep in mind that there's always room for exceptions and that some circumstances are just impossible to predict. For example, I should start meditating sounds like an obligation, whereas I want to start meditating expresses a desire that we can act upon. Or saying something like, you should be more considerate will probably start an argument, whereas I would like it if you were more considerate can start a discussion. Do you see the difference? Remember that every person is entitled to an opinion and has a right not to share our values. Now that you've learned the theory, let's put it into practice. In the following exercise, you will transform your limited thinking patterns. Wish you luck.